All right, guys, welcome back. Over at Beard doing some more Star Wars Legion. I keep seeing this big debate, Saber Tank versus LAAT. I am a LAAT fanboy. I try to put it in all my lists. I do own a Saber, but I'm not that big of a fan of it. I'll get into it and I'll tell you why as I break this down. I try to put a lot of information here. This could be a long video. I don't know. Could be 15 minutes. Could be 30. Depends how much I talk. I'm from the Midwest. I can talk a lot. So here we go. Just a couple slides. And hopefully you find this information useful. I devised a point system to see if it... Number one, if the point system worked. Number two, if the point system worked the way I thought it would. So let me know what you guys think. Maybe I can revise the point system and start comparing more like similar things. Obviously, I'm not going to compare clone troopers to a tank, but I could compare clone troopers to stormtroopers, stuff like that. So here we go. Starting with the LAAT. As you can see, complete armor, arsenal 2, cover 1, hover air 2. Sick. And look at the immunities. Blast, melee, and range 1 weapons. Transport 1 closed. Everybody knows the LAAT stat card. However, the price is only 105 now. It's not 120. This says 120. It's not 120 anymore. Pilots, you get Clone Commander Fox. He's a field commander with a free action. You can choose a friendly trooper unit you are transporting or at range 1 to 2. It gains a surge and may remove a suppression. For 10 points, that's pretty awesome. He's not the one I use. Hound and Grizzler, for an action, you can give 1 unit 4 observe tokens, which I believe are essentially like baby aim tokens. You can reroll 1 die. But this is the one I use. Clone Shock Trooper Pilot. After a unit you are transporting disembarks, it gains 1 surge token and either an aim or a dodge. For 4 points, I think that's the one you go with. And now they have the same ordnance, so it's not a big deal. Bunker Busters, high energy, AP. I tend to run high energy just for the crit 1, which is nice. Because that crit 1 gives your whole dice pool crit 1. And it's high velocity. They can't spend dodge tokens. Which is nice. Sorry I made that face. I was looking at something. So as long as you shoot the missiles at one thing and you shoot the main gun at something else, you get high velocity. AP is nice. Impact 3. All these cycle. Scatter is nice. Blast is nice on the Bunker Busters, but for 12 and it's only range 1 to 2, I can't do it. High energy shells 2 to 4, that's what's good for me. Now we'll bust into the Saber Tank. Here we go. Same full armor, arsenal 2. This is hover ground, which means aside from the hover stuff, I believe it does give cover. This does have built-in outmaneuver, which is nice. So you can spend dodge tokens to cancel crits. Nice. The biggest downside to me for this thing is weak point 1 rear and sides. It's not hard to get into the sides of this thing, especially if you're... I'm trying to think how I want to word this. If you are careful and make your movements precise, you can get around this thing no problem. You can get 2 units on each side and they can't go anywhere. However, big gun, nice keywords, red defense die. So the pilots you get with this, veteran clone pilot, this is probably what I would go with. Veteran clone, while you are a friendly clone trooper at unit, a clone trooper unit at range 1 and in line of sight attacks or defends, you and that unit can spin each other's aims, dodge, and surges. And it's exhaustible, but during the end phase, you ready it. So you can do that every turn. So basically, it just gets clone token sharing, right? Ayla, I used to run her until I realized how good the clone pilot was. When I say used to, I ran the Saber twice. Both times I ran him with Ayla. She gets Inspire 2, and she can be a field commander. And old Plo Koon, he gets agile too if you exhaust it for a free action. But, I mean, 2 dodge tokens is nice, but I would rather be token sharing and shooting things than worry about getting dodges. Same ordnance, armor piercing, bunker busters, high energy. We talked about that. Here's a big plus for the Saber tank, though. It has an extra hard point. So you get this 1 to 4 weapon. It's 30 points. It's 2 red, and it has beam 2. It's nice, but for 30 points, I don't think it's that nice. If it's still 30 points, I was in Tabletop Admiral. I'm pretty sure it's still 30 points. This is the one I run. Excuse me. Is this twin laser turret? 1 to 3, 3 black, crit 1, and it only costs 14. That's a way better deal for me. Beam 2 is nice if you can play in an open field. All the boards I've played on are usually buildings everywhere, like little towns for the most part. But yeah, that is the Saber tank, the stuff you can get with that. Now we are going to go into similarities and differences. So what they share, they both have complete armor, they both have arsenal 2, they both have a 2 move speed. Both of them have really good pilot choices, in my opinion. The same ordnance, and they both have some type of hover. Whether it's the Saber having hover ground or the LAAT having hover air 2. Hover air 2 is nice because you can clear height 2 buildings, which is most everything you're going to find on your board. So you can just take it everywhere. Right? So what they don't share. The Saber has slightly better HP at 9 health and a 6 threshold. The LAAT is 8 health and a 6 threshold. I feel like that threshold should be 1 less. Or no, I don't. The Saber should be 1 more maybe, but it's a tank, so I understand where they're going. LAAT has cover 1 that instantly negates a hit. Like I said, it has hover air 2. The LAAT is immune to blast, range 1 attacks, and melee. You can fly this thing straight into Wookiees, and they can't do anything about it. It surges to block. Downside, it has white defense dice. The main gun is only 1 to 3 with a red and 3 black attack. Now, the Saber we talked about has 9 HP and a threshold of 6. It's hover ground, so it can, It can go over range 1 or height 1, but I believe it's considered a ground vehicle, so I think it gives cover. We talk about how good the outmaneuver is. Spending dodge tokens to negate crits is really nice. But here we go. Weak point 1, rear and sides. If somebody's in your side or rear arc, they get impact 1 on their attack. It doesn't surge for anything, offense or defense. It does throw red defense dice. The main gun is better. It's a 1 to 4 range, 2 red, 2 black, 2 white, crit 1, impact 1. That's really good, but I guess there is no but. I hardly ever get to take shots at 4, so the range isn't that big of a deal for me. All the dice, though, and those keywords are really nice. One thing I forgot to put on here is base size. The Saber tank base is huge. It's huge. And it's really rough to move around. Yeah, you can hover over stuff, but you still have to keep it at a 45-degree angle when it lands, technically, which is hard sometimes if you're floating around buildings. Sometimes impossible. At least with the LAAT, it's a little easier to get in and out of places. Easier to balance the base on something if you have to as well. So the next slide is like the points and how I feel the points should be. Or how my point system, right? So what I did is I gave them a bunch of pluses and minuses. And after I added and subtracted what was left, I gave, that was the total points for me. As you can see, the Saber got 2 and the LAAT got 4. And I believe they're both 10. I tried to keep it 10. Yeah, 10 things. So the LAAT had better health. I'm not going to subtract something if one was better than the other. I'm just not going to give the other one points, right? So the LAAT got a plus for health, outmaneuver, its red dice, its base weapon is better, the extra hard point is nice, and it's still hover ground, which is nice. But weak point, no surge, base size, and this thing is expensive. It's 170 flat. The way I would play it is at 211. That's a quarter of your army gone just for this tank. Just for one unit, right? And on a good day, it might get 5 shots off. That's just not so much worth it to me right now. If it came down in price, maybe if it came down to like 150, 140, 150, maybe. Because the LAAT started at 120, now it's 105. Definitely I wouldn't play it if it was 120, but 105 is doable. The LAAT I play, I believe, is 120 fully decked out. That's just the way I run it. So you can see the LAAT, it got 4 points because it gets cover 1. The immunities are sick. It's a closed transport, which slight bias, I guess, maybe for me because I move Rex around with it. Or you can move a Jedi or a unit of clones. It doesn't matter. Or Vader. It goes for the Empire as well. It surges to block. Its base size is smaller. It's more cost effective. I have it in a 10 activation list. And nothing's naked. It's a pretty solid list. Hover Air 2 is nice. Now, the downside to the LAAT, white defense dice. But the surge to block does help. But white defense dice. The base weapon is not as good. The Saber main weapon is so good. I put the LAAT base weapon as negative. You know, I didn't for the health because they're only off by 1. But the weapons are so different. And the LAAT gets a minus because it doesn't have that extra hard point where the Saber does. So if you add all those up, you get 7 pluses and 3 minuses for a total of 4 points. I feel like this is pretty fair. It's close. It's not a blowout. I mean, it's a blowout in my mind because I love the LAAT that much. It's hard for me not to take it because I like having activations. I built a like a small. I'll bring it up real quick and drag it over. This. Yeah, this should pop up. There we go. So it's my dumb vehicle list. It's a Rex. It's 9 activations, 800 exactly. So 1 set of naked clones. These clones all have frags and a phase 1. 2 bark speeders naked and a Saber at 211. Veteran clone pilot, twin laser turret, HQ uplink, and armor piercing shells. You could make it cheaper. But if I'm running the tank, I'm going to point it straight towards the other vehicle if there are any. And if there aren't, that's a good dice pool anyway. It doesn't matter. But that's how I would run with a Saber probably. Maybe an engineer in one of these. I don't know. I don't run my engineer as much as I thought I would. In conclusion, the Saber is definitely the heavy hitter. Obviously, weapons. Where the LAAT is more like a tactical strike. I know with the Saber, the 2 move, you get a lot farther with the base size, but putting it somewhere is rough. The LAAT can just get in and out of places real quick. And just not have to worry about too much because the immunities, right? It has rolled so well for me. I know that doesn't even matter how the dice roll, which there's a website I want to do some dice, and but I just didn't do it in this video. No, so didn't know how long it was going to be. We're already at 15 minutes. But tank, heavy hitter. it's definitely, you could put it in a lane or in the center of the board and control that area. I've done that with the LAAT before, but not because it's, you know, a deadlier threat than the Saber, but it's hard to hit, and, you know, you can just sit somewhere and float around. And I was in a tournament recently. I put it on one side of the board, and it basically held 3 units of Wookiees behind some terrain because, you know, didn't want to get shot. And I can run barks. People don't know how to handle barks. But, you know, it's still personal preference. Play what you want. You know, maybe think about what I said. Maybe try to use a LAAT. Tabletop Simulator is a great place to check things out. I might do some tabletop sim videos as well. It just depends what you want to do. This game is so random. You never know what you're going to play if you're playing like in tournaments and stuff. If you're playing with your friends, you know what they play. If you know they run 2 ATSTs, throw a Saber in with AP, you know, whatever. But to me, the LAAT is the better choice. 90% of the time, 95% of the time, I'm taking LAAT. No problem. But hope you enjoyed this video. I'll do another one, and I'll do like the dice math, and I'll show you that website. And we'll throw dice against random things and see what happens. Offensively and defensively. But that will be for another day. Again, this is Redbeard Does Legion. And I am out of here. Excuse me while I look over here to look at OBS to hit stop recording. You guys take it easy. Have a good day.